Consider this possibility: what if your deepest fears and most troubling self-doubts aren't obstacles blocking your path, but actually signposts guiding you toward your true purpose? What if understanding who you are and what you're meant to accomplish lies within the very aspects of yourself you've tried to hide, repress, or deny? Today, we're exploring one of psychology's most profound and transformative concepts, Carl Jung's theory of the shadow. This exploration goes beyond mere theory or philosophical abstraction. We're uncovering life-changing truths with practical applications. By the end of our journey, you'll understand not only the nature of your shadow but discover how it conceals the very blueprint of your purpose, potential, and personal liberation. The most powerful revelation awaits us at the conclusion of this exploration. Carl Jung, revolutionary pioneer of depth psychology, proposed that the shadow represents the unconscious elements of ourselves that we've rejected or disowned, all those characteristics, yearnings, and dimensions of our personality that we've deemed unacceptable or shameful. Yet here lies the fascinating paradox: this very shadow harbors the seeds of our greatest strengths and contains the essential blueprint for living authentically. Consider how frequently we sidestep certain thoughts or behaviors because they create discomfort. Notice how often we criticize others for qualities we secretly recognize within ourselves. When you experience an unusually strong reaction to someone else's behavior, it frequently indicates they've touched upon an element of your own shadow. Jung articulated this insight beautifully: everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. The shadow isn't merely darkness, it represents untapped potential. It embodies energy we've buried because acknowledging it feels too frightening or embarrassing. Take this moment for personal reflection. Which aspects of yourself do you conceal from others, or even from your own awareness? Is it perhaps a fear of inadequacy, a deeply rooted resentment, or a persistent jealousy? Maybe it's a passion or desire you've convinced yourself is impractical or inappropriate. What if these elements weren't defects requiring elimination but instead messages awaiting interpretation? Jung proposed that by confronting our shadow, we can incorporate it into our conscious awareness, a transformative process he termed individuation, the journey toward psychological wholeness. This path demands courage, honesty, and willingness to venture into unknown territory. The rewards, however, are immeasurable. Jung described individuation as discovering your authentic identity, not merely the persona you present to society, but your complete and genuine self encompassing both illumination and shadow. He maintained that our most significant development comes not from rejecting our shadow but from embracing it. Consider this parallel: every mythological hero encounters a moment of reckoning with their inner darkness. The Greek hero Hercules confronted not only external monsters but also his own destructive rage and personal flaws. Similarly, Luke Skywalker in Star Wars had to face his internal darkness before truly embodying his role as a Jedi. These narratives reflect our own psychological journeys. The fundamental question becomes: are you prepared to take this first step? Are you ready to examine the aspects of yourself you've been avoiding and ask what they're attempting to teach you? Jung's philosophy reveals that your shadow isn't an adversary but a guide. It communicates through your dreams, fears, and relationships. Have you experienced recurring dreams or felt inexplicably drawn toward particular ideas or people? These may represent your shadow attempting to communicate. Working with your shadow begins with developing awareness. Notice emotions and reactions that seem disproportionate or intensely charged. These often indicate aspects of yourself you've suppressed. After identifying these traits, move toward acceptance. This doesn't mean indulging every impulse or desire. Instead, it involves acknowledging these parts without judgment and understanding their function in your life. Imagine the freedom of no longer fearing your perceived flaws but seeing them as instruments for growth. Consider how much more authentic and confident you might become by embracing your complete self. As we continue, we'll explore deeper methods for identifying and integrating your shadow. We'll discover practical approaches for transforming perceived darkness into light and examine how this integration reveals your life's purpose. Remember, our most profound insight still awaits. Continue with us, because by the journey's end, you'll possess not just understanding of your shadow but a roadmap for using it to guide your destiny. Let's venture further into your inner landscape and uncover the extraordinary potential residing within. Let's delve deeper into the mysterious domain of the shadow and discover how understanding this hidden dimension can unlock not only your purpose but also profound inner harmony. The shadow reveals itself in numerous ways, through our habits, relationships, and especially our emotional reactions. Have you ever experienced a moment of emotional intensity and later wondered why you responded so strongly? That instance when emotion overwhelms reason often signals your shadow revealing itself. But what gives the shadow such influence over us? Jung believed its power stems from its unconscious nature. The more vigorously we deny or suppress an aspect of ourselves, the greater control it exerts. It resembles holding a beach ball underwater. The more forcefully you push down, the more violently it resurfaces when your strength gives out. Now consider this perspective: if you could bring that concealed aspect into consciousness and understand its origins, how much greater mastery would you have over your life? How much greater freedom might you experience? One of the most revealing aspects of shadow work involves the concept of projection. Jung proposed that when we disown parts of ourselves, we often perceive those qualities in others, magnifying our reactions. For example, if you struggle with feelings of inadequacy, you might criticize those who appear overconfident or dismiss individuals who excel in areas where you feel insecure. This isn't merely a psychological curiosity. It functions as a mirror, reflecting back aspects of ourselves we haven't yet acknowledged. Jung explained this phenomenon: knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. Pause for reflection. Is there someone in your life who consistently triggers an intense emotional response? Perhaps a colleague, friend, or family member. Rather than focusing on their behavior, ask yourself, what does my reaction reveal about me? Which aspect of my shadow might I be projecting onto them? This isn't about self-criticism, it's about self-discovery. Each projection offers an opportunity to reclaim a fragment of yourself and bring it into conscious awareness. Let's extend this concept by examining how the shadow connects to our purpose. Often, the elements we suppress are intimately linked to our unique gifts and passions. For instance, someone who suppresses their creativity out of fear of failure might discover that embracing this suppressed dimension leads them to their life's work. Jung believed purpose isn't something externally discovered but internally uncovered. It involves aligning with your authentic self, encompassing both light and shadow. In his words, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But how do we initiate this alignment process? It begins with self-inquiry. Challenge your assumptions about your identity through powerful questions. What do I most fear about myself? Which aspects of my personality have I been told are unacceptable? Which passions or dreams have I abandoned because they seemed impractical or unworthy? Record these reflections. Contemplate them. You might be surprised by what emerges when you give your shadow a voice. Another effective tool for shadow work is journaling. Jung himself maintained extensive journals, using them to explore his unconscious mind. He frequently encouraged his patients to document their dreams, recognizing them as direct channels to the unconscious. In dreams, the shadow often appears symbolically, as a person, animal, or event. Notice recurring themes or symbols and ask yourself what message your unconscious might be attempting to convey. Now let's consider the transformative power of integrating the shadow. Imagine an artist who refuses to use dark colors. Their paintings might appear beautiful but would lack depth and dimension. When we embrace our shadow, we become like an artist utilizing the complete spectrum of colors, light and dark, to create a masterpiece. Integration doesn't mean surrendering to every dark impulse or allowing the shadow to dominate. Rather, it means understanding and accepting these aspects as integral to your humanity. This acceptance cultivates compassion, not only for yourself but for others. You begin recognizing that everyone carries a shadow, and this shared experience connects us at a profound level. Embracing your shadow isn't a single event. It's a lifelong process requiring patience, courage, and commitment to personal development. But the rewards are substantial: clarity about your purpose, deeper inner peace, and the capacity to live authentically. Here's a crucial insight: your purpose transcends personal fulfillment. Jung believed our individual development contributes to the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of human experience. When you confront your shadow and align with your authentic self, you transform not only your own life but inspire and elevate those around you. In our next section, we'll explore practical steps for integrating your shadow into daily life. We'll examine how embracing this hidden dimension creates healthier relationships, greater creativity, and a life that feels genuinely aligned with your authentic nature. Our most profound truth still awaits. Stay with us as we reveal the ultimate insight about your shadow and how it holds the key to your destiny. As we venture deeper into Jungian philosophy, let's focus on applying shadow work insights to everyday experience. Understanding your shadow provides a powerful foundation, but genuine transformation emerges through integration, the bridge between awareness and action where you begin weaving these hidden dimensions into the fabric of your being. A primary step involves practicing radical self-honesty, examining yourself without filters or justifications. This requires courage to acknowledge, yes, I experience jealousy, or yes, I sometimes unfairly judge others. Here's the essential point: self-honesty isn't about self-condemnation but awareness. Consider it like addressing a cluttered space. You can't organize or utilize the area until you acknowledge the disorder. Similarly, you can't integrate your shadow until you recognize its presence. A practical approach begins with noticing emotional triggers. The next time you experience a powerful reaction, whether anger, fear, or even excessive admiration, pause and ask, why am I responding this way? What does this situation reveal about me? Am I projecting some aspect of myself onto this person or circumstance? For instance, if someone's confidence irritates you, consider whether this irritation stems from your own insecurity, or perhaps their confidence reminds you of a quality you've suppressed, your own desire for recognition and visibility. This self-inquiry process may initially feel uncomfortable. The temptation to retreat into blame or defensiveness can be strong. Remember, however, the goal isn't self-criticism but self-understanding. Each trigger provides an entryway to deeper self-awareness. After identifying shadow aspects, the next step involves dialogue. Jung often encouraged patients to engage with their shadow as though it were a separate entity. This approach, while seemingly unusual, helps externalize and understand these hidden dimensions. Visualize sitting across from your shadow and posing questions. Why do you feel this way? What are you attempting to protect me from? What do you need to feel acknowledged? This dialogue can occur through journaling, meditation, or visualization. The objective is creating space where your shadow feels recognized and heard. Remember, your shadow isn't your enemy, it's a part of you that has been attempting, in its flawed way, to protect or guide you. For many, this process yields surprising revelations. You might discover a long-held fear originates from childhood experience, or a suppressed trait actually represents untapped strength. Now, let's examine how integration influences your relationships. The shadow shapes not only your inner landscape but how you connect with others. Unresolved shadow aspects often manifest as relationship conflicts or tensions. Have you experienced situations where you repeatedly clash with someone over identical issues? Perhaps you've noticed relationship patterns, attracting similar partners or encountering familiar challenges. These patterns often indicate unresolved shadow dynamics. Jung believed relationships function as mirrors reflecting our unconscious back to us. When someone triggers you, it's frequently because they embody a quality or behavior resonating with your own shadow. By recognizing this dynamic, you transform conflict into growth opportunity. Rather than blaming or resenting others, ask, what is this situation teaching me about myself? This perspective shift deepens self-awareness while fostering compassion and understanding. Let's expand this concept further. How might embracing your shadow enhance creativity and purpose? Jung argued that the shadow isn't merely a container for negative traits, it's also a reservoir of untapped potential. The energy expended suppressing your shadow can be redirected toward creative expression. For example, suppressed anger might transform into advocacy for social change. A hidden desire for recognition could fuel artistic expression or public speaking. When you integrate your shadow, you reclaim energy previously spent concealing it, channeling it into pursuits aligned with your authentic self. Consider history's greatest artists, writers, and leaders whose work often reflects profound engagement with their shadows. Frida Kahlo's paintings express raw emotion and unflinching honesty about suffering and identity. Martin Luther King Jr. channeled righteous anger into a movement that transformed society. Jung himself viewed creativity as a pathway to individuation. He believed creative activities, whether art, writing, or problem-solving, access unconscious dimensions, including the shadow. Now, reflect on your own life. Have you abandoned passions or projects because they seemed too risky or vulnerable? What if these represent authentic self-expression waiting to emerge? As you integrate your shadow, you'll notice transformation. Traits and feelings once overwhelming or shameful become wellsprings of strength and wisdom. You'll find yourself living with greater authenticity, confidence, and purpose. In our final section, we'll reveal the ultimate truth about your shadow and how embracing it catalyzes profound transformation, not only for yourself but for the world around you. Stay with us as we uncover the final, most powerful insight connecting everything and illuminating the path to your highest potential. As we reach this journey's culmination, let's reflect on the significance of our discoveries. The shadow, that hidden and often feared dimension of ourselves, isn't a burden to endure. It represents a gift awaiting unwrapping, holding the key to authenticity, creativity, and ultimately, purpose. But what does truly embracing your shadow mean? And how can this integration transform not only your inner landscape but your entire engagement with life? To answer these questions, we must confront a fundamental truth Jung emphasized. We cannot achieve wholeness by rejecting parts of ourselves. Wholeness emerges from unity, bringing all aspects of our being into harmony. Jung famously stated, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This captures shadow work's essence, not denying darkness but understanding, owning, and using it to fuel growth. How do we make darkness conscious? One profound approach involves practicing vulnerability. When you openly acknowledge fears, insecurities, and perceived flaws, you remove their power to control you. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. It represents willingness to declare, "This is who I am, and I am sufficient." Consider your relationships. How often do we wear masks, revealing only aspects we believe others will accept? This habit, while understandable, creates barriers to genuine connection. By embracing your shadow, you grant yourself permission to appear completely, allowing others to see and appreciate your authentic self. This authenticity creates magnetic attraction, drawing others closer, inspiring trust, and fostering deeper, more meaningful connections. This extends beyond personal relationships to your broader impact. When you integrate your shadow, internal conflict ceases. This inner peace radiates outward, influencing how you approach challenges, opportunities, and purpose. You become someone operating from wholeness rather than fragmentation. Consider purpose through this perspective. Many spend their lives seeking meaning, believing it exists externally. Yet Jung teaches that purpose emerges from within, the natural outcome of aligning with your authentic self, shadow included. Consider this reality: your purpose isn't merely what you do, it's who you are. It's the unique combination of strengths, passions, and even struggles shaping your contribution to the world. The shadow forms an integral part of this equation. It doesn't obstruct your purpose, it guides you toward it. For instance, someone who has struggled with feelings of unworthiness might discover their purpose helping others recognize inherent value. Someone who has experienced anger might channel that energy into creating justice systems or advocacy. Your wounds become your wisdom. Now, let's address our most profound insight. Jung believed shadow integration transforms not only individuals but potentially humanity itself. Why? Because confronting your darkness develops compassion, understanding, and empathy. You recognize your struggles aren't unique but part of shared human experience. Imagine a world where more people embraced their shadows. Instead of projecting fears and insecurities onto others, they would acknowledge, heal, and grow from them. Conflicts would diminish, understanding would deepen, and humanity would approach collective enlightenment. This represents shadow work's true power, not merely self-improvement. It contributes to creating a more conscious, connected, and compassionate world. As we conclude, I offer this challenge: look within. Examine not only qualities that inspire pride but also those you've concealed. Ask yourself, what is my shadow teaching me? How can I apply these lessons to live more authentically? What steps can I take today to begin this integration journey? Remember, this isn't a single event but a lifelong journey. Each step brings you closer to becoming who you're meant to be, a person of depth, purpose, and wholeness. As we close, I invite your thoughts, reflections, and questions. What has this shadow exploration revealed to you? What resonates most deeply? Your insights might inspire others to take their first steps on similar journeys. This isn't an ending but a beginning. You now stand at the threshold of a new chapter, one where you embrace your complete self and step confidently into the life you're meant to live. Thank you for joining this exploration. May you find courage, wisdom, and peace as you continue discovering the depths of your being.